in the context of this title, it will be the learning language. So that means we have to see the root of the language development for the humans that occurs since child. Therefore, for my second point will be the language development theory. In the language development theory, there will be 4 theories which have been introduced by some experts from times to times in relation to the language learning and acquisition. And then those theories will lead us to the interaction. And then inside the interaction, there will be the role of scaffolding to help children learn and acquire language, especially English here. Then for the last topic, there will be a problem that comes to the theories that I will discuss. The theories in the point 1, point 2, and until point 4 will have a problem because nowadays, as we all know, Corona has come to the earth, right? And it causes many effects for some area, including education. As we have now, we also get the effect, right? We do seminar now into the webinar, right? So there will be a question toward this topic. The question will be, is it possible that the online classroom interaction between young learners and the teacher can be successful during the online interaction? And then what kinds of scaffolding that can be used by the teacher in online interaction? We have to mark the online word here because, and then what are the perception and attitudes of the teacher toward the scaffolding during the online interaction for the children? Okay, then let us begin the explanation about it. The first thing I have to explain is about the children early stage of learning language. Before we talk about the learning language, we must focus on the learning itself, how the children learn something. Therefore, according to Cole and Seyla in 2001, they said that children learn something or get information in the pra-operational stage. What is the pra-operational stage? Pra-operational stage is the stage that children need symbols to learn something. The process of learning that needs symbol. The children learn things from symbols that are seen by them, or not only seen, but they also can hear by their own 5 senses. The symbols can be pictures, pieces of word. If they use their eyes, they will see the picture as the symbol. If they see their listening or ears, they will see the words and others. Okay, then we have to focus on the learning language because in learning language, first we have to in learning a language, Vygotsky in 1976 said that children learn English through dialogue and conversation that need guidance from other people who are more expert or adult in that target language. Then Krasen in 1985 said that young learners acquire language by understanding the linguistic information they have heard. So here we will have three points: that symbols, guidance, and inputs as the children early stage of learning language. And then for that's 3, there will be 4 theory that will be the bubble of the 3 point that I have already explained. The first theory was introduced by the B.F. Skinner in 1985, he introduced the behaviorist theory. Here, he explained that young learners learn and acquire language through the conditioning in which the collaborated and imitation take place. He believed that children like an empty paper that still not having anything inside their brain, so that the children need imitate something to add to their empty paper. Therefore, however, Noam Chomsky in 1859, he introduced the nativistic theory. He said that in this theory, he said that children already have something inside their brain called language acquisition device. Then another theory will be by John Locke and David Hume in 1739, and also already added by Smith et al. In 2004. It is in the philosophy of education about learning language. There will be empirical theories. Empirical theories talk about the experience that humans learn something by their own experience. And then for the last, it is the Jean Piaget and Paul MacLeod. They already combined that those three theories into the interaction. As we have known that the first one is collaboration and imitation of behaviorists, and then children already have a device inside their mind in nativistic theory, and then in empirical theory will be experience. So by Jean and Paul, they introduced the perspective theories that say that learning language can be happen in the children cognitive development, in which those three are inside the interaction with the environment. So then here we will talk about the interaction. Okay. For the first one is there will be the type of interaction. Okay, sorry. Long in 1991, introduced type of interaction. In relation to language learning. He said that there will be 4 long and Lentop in 1991 and 2000. Said that there will be 4 type of interaction. The first one is learner and course content interaction, learner to learner interaction, learner to teacher interaction, and learner technology interaction. They believe that learning through interaction should have the negotiation of meaning and feedback. The negotiation of meaning means that the verbal exchanges that occur during the communication. And then for the children classroom interaction, there will be how to interact with the children in language learning. Wood in 1974 introduced that scaffolding is the main sorry something. Okay, sorry. Interaction. Now we have to focus the interaction for the children classroom interaction, how to interact with children in language learning context. Here, Wood in 1974 said that teachers should have control the classroom itself. Classroom itself, the teacher should be the model for the children to imitate, so that he claims that scaffolding is happen during the interactions. And then McNeil in 1970 also said that young learners must be able to recognize the tasks before they are able to produce the solution toward the task independently. It is also supported by the Clincy in 1974 of his classic game of 20 questions. In here, Clincy put some 12 questions to the young learners, and he asks that which one is the best question. At that time, the children cannot decide which one is the best question because there is no, they still don't know which one category is categorized as the good and which one is categorized as the bad. So that it is also added by Wood, Brunner, and Ross in 1976. He said that children's success and failure during the lesson inside the interaction determined by the tutor instructions. So then, during the lesson, children will come to the situation where the children can do something independently, but then there will be a situation where they don't know what to do next. So that kinds of situation called SPD situation. It is the zone of proximal development. So then, how to help the children get out from their the zone of proximal? So Willis in 1999 said that one of the useful instruction strategy as an input that helps learner to learn language during interaction is scaffolding. And then Bodropa and Leong also say that scaffolding is a tool to guide during the interaction. Then, what is the relationship between scaffolding and ZPD? Michel and Miles in 2004 and Obikwalu in 2013 said that GPD itself, scaffolding itself is the instruction. Scaffolding itself is an instruction to guide the children get out from their situation that they cannot do something uh, by doing the instruction that can guide them get out from the situation where they don't know what to do next. And what kind of the guide? Then Walcui in 2006 and Gibbons in 2002 said that types of scaffolded instruction will be modeling, bridging, imitating, repetition, and others. We can conclude that scaffolding is a tools for guiding the students, especially children, to learn language by doing modeling to them and bridging them, and by giving them imitation like repetition, and then for the steps of the scaffolding will be the teacher enter the situation, and then let the students do something independently first, um, and then they let the children collaborated with the others and like talking to each others and get word of English to each other from collaborative. And then the last, they will be directly do the self-assessment for the word they have taken. However, uh, as we all know now that we have pandemic era, in this pandemic era, we cannot meet to each other and the interaction, face-to-face interaction will not be happen. So that we will back to the question that is it possible that scaffolding can be used in online classroom interaction for the children? And then if it does, what kinds of scaffolding in for that case? And then what are the teacher perception and attitude toward it? Uh, and then, as we all know, during the interaction during the pandemic era is happened through the social media. And then the question will be the perception and attitude toward scaffolding itself by for the teacher. What kinds of scaffolding that can be used during this era? And meanwhile, John Dewey and Mooney in 2000 said that children always lose a track and need more attraction. Even in the even in the classroom interaction in the real life, they even they can lose a track if the material is not interested. So then, what about online that we cannot see here? We cannot see them in real. And then Gusrayani et al. In 2019 introduced the scaffolding online in dictionary. In scaffolding online dictionary, uh, the students are led to the to choose the vocabulary, and they will learn vocabulary by some interaction into the into the application of scaffolding online dictionary itself. I will explain about it in the next slide. Okay, and then the scaffolding during the pandemic era also can be happen through YouTube videos for kids. For example, here is example for scaffolding online dictionary. It is by Gusrayani in 2019. Scaffolding online dictionary is a tool that consists of defining, designing, and developing. In this app, the student can choose the level first, which one they are going to learn, low, medium, or high. Then if they have already clicked the level, there will be a word in this app. The student needs to define what vocabulary words that is going to explain. For example, if it is a banana, in that tool, there will be a description about banana, and then the children just need to read the instruction from the app that it is a fruit. The fruit is yellow, and monkey loves to eat it. Then he they will choose which kinds of fruit it is, and then design by themselves. And then in designing, they will here will be also helped by the helped by the parents if they cannot define at the first stage. And then for the developing, they will develop their own their own answer, and write down the answer as the developing stage. And then, as we all know, in during the pandemic era, the interaction will be happen through the social media like WhatsApp and YouTube. In WhatsApp, there also be videos, like the teacher make a videos of teaching, and then give the tasks through the WhatsApp. In this case, WhatsApp only used for the tasks, and for the material will be happen during the YouTube channel. From YouTube channel, there will be YouTube for kids. One of the channel will be English Sing Sing. In English Sing Sing, there is a song that contain instruction like Hokey Pokey. Here is the barcode of the Hokey Pokey. You can scan it if you want to see the song. Here, you can see the picture. From the right side, there is the word right foot. Here in the video, the cartoon model here will in their feet to the circle, and then they will out their right foot outside the circle. Then here, uh, here contains scaffolding instruction by making the children imitate what the cartoon model show. And then for the as the conclusion, as we know that scaffolding plays an important role in language development. Scaffolding plays an important role in language development and student engagement, especially for children. Even in the pandemic era, teachers can still use scaffolding in the EYL classroom interaction by using some online videos through YouTube. And the videos have some instruction for children to follow and get the language word from it, such as Hokey Pokey song and others, which are interesting for children to pay their attentions. Here is the references. And okay, thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Rena, for the nice and interesting presentation. For all the participants, if you have any questions that you are going to ask to Rena, please feel free to type the questions and put it on the Q&A box. Now, let's go to the next presenter. Our second presenter is Nur Annisa. Today, she's going to present her topic is about classroom interaction and students' investment in EFL context. For Nur Annisa, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today my topic is about classroom interaction and students' investment in EFL context. In this presentation, what we would like to present about first is the notion of investment, and then what we get from investment, and then the relation of investment and identity. The next is classroom interaction, and the last is the factors influence students' investment. The notion of investment was introduced by Norton Pierce in 1995. Investment refers to the language unbreakable relationship of language students to the social world that surrounds them and its influence in language learning process. The concept of investment try to understand and explain the language learner and their situation by see the real life situation rather than a one-dimensional view of which factors motivate students to learn. In Norton views, being highly motivated to learn language doesn't guarantee students have high investment too, especially if they in their language practice they have some problems such as racist and contradictory. When students invest, they will give their effort, time, and also motivation. And also they invest because they are hoping and also expecting, we can say that they have goal why they invest in language learning. As Norton said, that if learners invest in a second language, they will acquire symbolic resources and also material resources. So it will increase their cultural capital and social power. The example of symbolic resources that a student or learner can get is they will uh, get scholarship or higher education for mastering the language, and also they can communicate with other people around the world, so they can make friends from it. In material resources, they invest language because they want to have a better position and advancing their salary in social status. If learners invest in language investment, they also invest in their identity. How it can be? Norton said that every time language learners speak, they are not only exchanging information with their interlocutors, they are organizing and reorganizing a sense of who they are and how they relate to the social world. They are, in other words, engaged in identity construction and negotiation. As Norton mentioned, that identity is unfixed. So identity can be constructed or negated during a language learning process. Here are the example of the identity change during learning process. So this is from Wirza. Her participant named Hapsari changed her identity from negative identity into positive identity. In junior high school, she have negative identity. It caused by she think that English is not important, so she prefer to learn more in math or science. And then she has no idea about English. She also unfamiliar with English. And what make is cause Hapsari also that the teachers in the classroom never use English. Uh, Teacher always want the student just to memorize the tenses and vocabularies. So teachers just give the student to know what is noun, what is verb. But when she was in senior high school, she realized that English is important. It happened when Hapsari uh, got a lower score than other students. So she tried to take course outside classroom. After took the course, Hapsari get higher scores, and then she thinks that she has to continue learn English at class because now she was on stage that she having a goals. The goals of Hapsari is she want to passing national examination with higher scores. And then the turn point of Hapsari is when the tutor or the teacher in the course give Hapsari more chance to more chance to practice in the classroom. So the teacher can trigger the students to invest in in learning language. The teacher also being a role mode in the classroom. So the teacher always use English whenever whenever he speaks, even though she don't know the word in English itself. He try to use English. That make the classroom interaction is important to gain student investment, as Wagner defines interaction as reciprocal events that require at least two objects and two actions. Interaction occurs when these objects and events naturally influence one another. You can see the pictures in your right side. In this picture, there is no interaction between the teacher and the student. The teacher here is only explain the material and not recognize that their student focusing with others activities, like there is student that's sleeping and chit chat with their friends and then doing makeup. As Talmud and Weinbach defined interaction into four kinds. The first is students' course content. In students' course content, it works when the student work the teacher's material or the teacher activities. And next is student and student interaction. It occurs when there is communication between students in a small or large group. And then the next is student teacher interaction. It occurs when teachers and students communicate in classroom activities. And the last is students technology interaction. In here, it's interaction between the student and the technology they choose in the classroom. These interactions help students to clarify and understand, uh, clarify and obtain to understand of the course content, and also to know student and teacher each other. And it's all allow student and teacher know each other. In investing, there are some factors that influence students. The first is from Anne and Lee. They are conducting a study in South Korea students, senior high school. So they want to know why the students in South Korea does not invest in language learner, while most of students in Korea have already recognized that English is important for their future careers. So they found that the student had no interest in participating in English classes, and also the school curriculum and the teachers were not helpful enough. The worst is they don't know how to study English. The second is The next is a study from Riza. It happened in Indonesia. In EFL that the investment in learning language because of they are unfamiliar with English and also teachers are not well trained. And the last is the study from Muslim Hamid and S.Pd. They investigate why Indonesian high school students have low investment in learning English. So they found that there are three factors influence the students this investment in learning language. The first is school location. The school location, when the school location is in the city, it can be said that student can have higher investment than the one that in the countryside. And the second one is a classroom learning situation. So the student have low learning enthusiasm, and in the classroom there is poor English performance that makes students don't want to invest in learning language. And the third is parental support. So yeah, the student needs parent support to learn language because in EFL context, student in EFL doesn't have do not have much opportunity like ESL students. Uh, the student in EFL student EFL cannot uh, learn learn language outside the classroom. So what can from the three studied, it found that teachers play the key role to investigate to get the student in their investment in their investment. Here are the suggestion for the teachers that Tomita have done. Tomita was Tomita conducted a study in Japanese learner. So they try to know how form focus in instruction FFI influence students investment. The result that she suggests that a teacher can use form focused interaction FFI because FFI creates social context for learners to establish their identity as learners and leading to greater investment. In conclusion and recommendation, I acknowledge that it is not simple to make classroom interaction success, but I believe that there are some results that teacher can take from this topic. Because it is rare to find the study about investment in EFL learner. To also to be better understand, more studies should be done and more questions should be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur Annisa, for the nice presentation. For all the attendees who have just joined, I remind you not to forget to fill in the attendance list that we have provided the link on the chat box. And also, for the participants who would like to ask questions, please free to type the questions and drop it on the Q&A box. Okay, let's we come to the next presenter. Our next presenter is Yeni Oktarina. She's a teacher at SMA Negeri 7 Prabumuli. Today, she's going to present her presentation with the title Classroom Interactions, Discourse, and its Impact on Students' Oral Productions. For Yeni, the Zoom floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Ika. Can you hear me? Okay, someone else, can you hear me? Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I will discuss about the topic which is directed with the situation in here that you can feel as the teacher and also for the students. Now, the topic today is about the collaborative language learning in COVID-19 era. When we talk about COVID-19 era and also the collaborative, this is the outline that I will present today. How does COVID-19 era influence education and why should collaborative learning and what the last is what can we do when we talk about the COVID-19, it also influenced not only for Indonesia, but almost a country around the world. And the government made a decision to close school and also the university. But it doesn't mean that the teaching learning should be stopped because this is the responsibility for our work, for our job, to give our knowledge and to find the way, the effective way, and make the student can learn more.
I'm sorry, Yeni. Yeni, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Yeni, for the interruption. Your voice is so low. It's not clear enough. Would you please get closer to the microphone?
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello?
It is still small. It is still small.
Are you sure? It's clear before. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but the voice is not so clear.
Really? Okay. Okay, should I start from the beginning?
No, not necessarily to start
Just go on.
hearing. Just go on.
Okay. Okay. Now, what is the COVID-19? COVID-19 is a kind of the virus that spread by the mammals. I mean, the animals, actually, mammals or birds that influence, yeah, the respiratory illness for humans. This is the virus is the first was first discovered in China, and now it is happened in Indonesia. Now, how does COVID-19 influence education? Number one is classroom learning should be taking place in online teaching learning. And the second one, teacher who has limited capability with the technology, because not all the teachers, not all the students, can use the technology tools here. And the fourth is the financial cost. We know the financial cost is not also feeling by the teachers, but also feels by the students and the parents. And the last is psychology. Psychology is the most important one. And then we will relate it with the challenge of the teachers. I quote some words from John Dewey. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. I think you can imagine if we as the teacher cannot change the method or the technique that we use in the classroom. So it means we cannot give the knowledge. I mean, they get nothing from us as the teachers. And then about the online teaching learning. Online teaching learning is describe something that related with the computer-based internet technology. And then this is the data. This is the data that used by teachers. The most one is WhatsApp. The most one is WhatsApp. You can see that the application used by teachers in online learning, they use WhatsApp. But in this case, some of the teachers use this WhatsApp only give the assignment only check the attendance list. What about that? And then this is the data also, the form of the teaching materials made by teachers. The most one is audio visual, by using the record and then send the, I mean the order for the student, what the student should do in the lesson. And then this is the most one, the challenging effect of the students' online learning. Number one, less time spent in learning. Why this is the most? Because right now, students only get the small time, I mean less time. Because normally, students can learn about 45 minutes, and now they only can learn about 30 until 35 minutes. The second one, the stress symptom. The stress is related with the psychology from the student, because the student will feel stressed because they always get the some assignment from the teacher without telling what's the problem, and then the teacher only, oh, you have to do your work with the due time. And then the third one, a change in the student interaction. Since the pandemic era, I mean, since the technique, I mean, the classroom learning process should taking in the online teaching learning, there is many changes of the way students interact. Before they always go to maybe to the mall, hanging out, and now they can't do nothing. They just stay in the house, just seeing their laptop and do their assignment. And the last is right now, it's also the most lot of learning motivation. Is this the challenging for the teacher to increase the motivations of the students? Now, we related the challenging for the students to teachers challenging in online teaching. Number one is neophobia. Neophobia is the fears of feeling the new thing. It's related with the technophobia. Why? This is, I think, not all the teachers can use the technology. Right now, Zoom and then Skype, even though Skype is already found a long time ago, but this is the new thing for us to do the virtual conference. And then the second one, internet connectivity issue. The internet connectivity issue is also important. I mean, it's also challenging for the teachers because not all the place, not all the city or village have the good connectivity. And then the third one is the lesson plan. Sometimes, even though right now the government make the teacher to use or to write the one paper lesson plan, but still they have to write it because it is need time to do it. And the fourth is the invisibility and lack of the visible body of language. In the class, we always show our gesture when we explain, and then we see the gesture of our student. And the next is in the online teaching learning, the teacher should give the clear interaction and also need time for to do that. And the last one, handling the large capacity and also check the attendance student. Okay, why should the collaborative learning? You can see that from the Johnson, collaborative learning methods are more effective than traditional methods in promoting students' learning and achievement. We're currently preparing students and job and technology that don't know yet active in order to solve problems that we don't even know are problem yet. In here, this is the challenging for teacher to find the problem, what the problem faced by students. That's why there should be collaborations between students and the teachers and uh, students with their peers and like teachers to other teachers. Okay, why is also collaborative learning? The first is because of the theory from the Vygotsky. It is about the SPD, the zone of proximal development. He stated that there are there are two levels of human. Number one is actual development, which is individuals can learn by themselves. And the second one is potential development, which is this interaction between individuals and environment. So in here means that collaborative learning is provide students to get the opportunity and to get the news idea from their peers to establish the mutual interaction in the learning process. The next, yes, of course, collaborative learning is related with 21st century learning skill. We can see the collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and communication. And why should, in the pandemic era, we should use the collaborative learning? This is the reason. Number one, this is the principle of collaboration learning that I got from Lynn. With this, when we use the collaborative learning, it provides students to practice their knowledge, and also to improve the quality of students when they talk. And then the third one, it could create a positive learning climate and also promote social interaction. From those principles, it allows for students to have critical thinking. And the last, from the critical thinking, they will be a creative. Creative here, not only for the product, yeah, not only product. Okay, this is the 20 collaborative learning tips and strategy for the teachers. You can see that in my slide. This is the empirical research, which is related with the collaborative learning. The use of WhatsApp since like the Rena before. Yes, WhatsApp not only for using for the check the attendance, send the message, and then send the attendance like and so on. But by using the WhatsApp as the collaborative learning, as the collaborative tools, it can make the online learning process will be easy. Why don't you use the WhatsApp as the discuss group like that? And then the second one, the research about the collaborative learning in English language learning environment. It is from Rao. When the learner learns in group, they are more comfort and can share their knowledge with each other. And the last one, the importance of implementing collaborative learning in English as the second language classroom in the Malaysia. In here, found it that collaborative makes the student depend on each other. They will be not isolated by the others. And the last, this is the conclusion. What can we do, especially for the teachers? We can run from the system. There is no choice for this for us as the teachers. But we should do something changing. Because this is time for us for us as the teacher to give our knowledge and also motivate them to learn. That's why it is the reason that online learning with the collaborative language learning is very helpful in canceling learning to students in emergency. I think that's all about my topic today. I hope you can get some knowledge. I think that's all, Mbak Ika. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yeni, for the awesome presentations. Okay, I would like to remind for all the participants once again that for those who ask a question, please not to forget to write to whom the question goes to, because we got difficulty in addressing to whom the question is to whom the question goes to. Before we continue to the next presenter, I would like to greet Ibu Mahdalena Fianti. Good afternoon, Ibu. Welcome to the webinar.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. Let's continue to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Eka Barahma Putri. She's going to present a topic with the title, The Use of Formative Assessment in Remote Teaching During the Pandemic Era. To Eka, the Zoom floor is yours.
Thank you. I would like to share the screen. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Can you see?
Not yet,
Can you
Eka.
see? Are you sure?
Yes.
I'm already. Wait. Okay.
It takes time. It's okay. Just wait
Okay.
a few minutes.
Yeah. It's loading. Wait a minute. Okay. Wait a minute.
Slideshow.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, can you see the screen? Sorry? I can hear your voice. Cannot hear your voice. Okay,
It's
thank
clear.
you. Okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I'm Eka Barahma Putri. Thank you for the chance for me to deliver my my topic. Okay, well, the topic of my research project is that classroom interactional discourse and its impact on student oral productions. Well, okay, I will give you the outline. Wait a minute. Okay, the outline of my research is that the first is introduction, and the second, classroom interactional discourse. What is classroom interactional discourse? And also oral productions. What do the experts say? Theoretical framework, and what are the facts? And the last is the conclusion and recommendations. Well, and the first is that introductions. Okay. Well, classroom interaction has been central issues in teaching and learning English in the era of communicative language teaching. And the research here, so wait a minute, what happened? This one, sorry. Sorry, the risk. Okay. Well, the research deal with the teacher talk. Student response and feedback, also called as a classroom discourse, has been widely published and discussed among language teacher, educator, researcher, and experts. That's what the researchers say that. So here we can say that interaction in a classroom cover communication of the teaching defined as a classroom interaction. It determines the success of the teaching and learning process and improve student language ability and achievements. In the teaching and learning process, the interaction mainly happens between a teacher and student who both have a role as the main component of interactions. Well, and next, Well, after we talk about classroom interactions, so what is classroom interaction itself? Uh, According to COISM 2010, the study of classroom interaction refers to the rules of language use at school, which includes a better understanding of the social context where communication takes place between the teacher and students when sharing knowledge. And also, classroom interactions as a certain verbal behaviors of teachers and students as they interact with the use of fact and concept in the classrooms. Well, so here, interaction is one of the factors that support the students' learning achievement. It is generally known that interaction between a student and teacher, a teacher and student, or a student and materials, influence student learning activities and also um, teacher teaching activities. I mean, so that's we call it as a classroom interactions. Uh, well, and next, what is classroom discourse? Yes, a classroom interaction and classroom discourse is related each other. But here, when we talk about classroom discourse, it means that it close to discourse analysis. So discourse analysis is probably best described as the study of a talk and text. So it can be concluded that it is a method that contributed to understands the nature of the students and teacher interaction and how learning activities take place in the classrooms. For example, teacher explain the contents of the lessons and student asks the questions. So here, the meaning of classroom, what is classroom discourse? There are some experts says about the definition of classroom discourse. The first is how sociocultural aspect and social belief outside the classroom shape classroom interaction inside at foreign language context. And Lean, according to Lean 2007, the distinctive roles play and activities practice in classroom. And also, classroom discourse as the distinctive type of discourse itself. So, according to Nunan 2013. So, discourse analysis as noted by Lam et al. According to Lam et al. 2009, is a theoretical framework used in many studies of classroom interactions. So that's what we call it as classroom discourse. So here, I would like to remind you again, my topic is about classroom interactional discourse and its impact on on students' oral productions. So here, what is oral production itself? Well, some experts say that according to Melly and Valdez 1996, oral production is the manner in which people exchange knowledge about the issues and they care about taking into account the meaning of the interactions. Moreover, Himes 1972 said that oral production has the capacity to communicate effectively within a particular speech community that wants to accomplish its purposes. So here, so we can conclude it that oral production itself focuses on the learner ability to communicate in the target language or a foreign language. I mean, the target language is a foreign language, for example, like English, like that. So this aspect for the student to speak and improve their ability to study the foreign language itself. So, so what do the experts say? Well, according to Roca 2012, many teachers have had an experience of teaching where students participate regularly during learning activities in the classroom, and they are always being encouraged. They be encouraged by their teacher. to ensures that all students are involved in the classroom discussion or interactions. And also, the other experts stated in order to address questions about the teaching and learning, the study of classroom interaction needs a framework for analyzing verbal interactions from both student and teachers' abilities. So based on what the expert says in my slides, that there is a need for a framework in explaining the interaction that we will study. And because I'm a focus on this matter, I will try to apply some theories to support my research. So this is the theoretical framework. Okay. Well, the theoretical framework here, I use Sinclair and Coulthard's 1992, the theory of Sinclair's. It's about initiation, response, and feedback, IRF. Yeah. And also Vygotsky, 1978. Well, IRV patterns describe a reciprocal relationship between teacher and student in the classrooms. Teacher raises a question, the student answers it, and the teacher gives an evaluative follow-up or feedback. Before raising another question are referred to as initiation, response, and follow-up or feedback. And also because of IRF is a pattern that structure, it is useful to analyze classroom interaction. That's why I use initiation, response, and feedback for this, for my research, because this is really related to my research, initiation, response, and feedback in classroom interactions. But here, I add some information, some theoretical framework from Vygotsky 1978. Well, moreover, the social cultural theory, as suggested by Vygotsky 1978, that we call it as ZPD. Okay, the zone of proximal development. Well, ZPD means that the student during their full involvement or engagement should be scaffolded by the teacher. This theory takes into account the social and cultural factors of the spoken language during scaffolding and interactions. That's why I really, in my research, I really need this theoretical framework to support my research project. Well, next, that's the fact from the empirical research that I found. There are some of the empirical research that happen in another countries, right, that they discuss about classroom interactional discourse. Then here's the first is from selected English class in Eastern Cape of South Africa, and the classroom discourse interactive sequences generated by the teacher's questions in Italian primary schools. And also from classroom interaction in e-eval classroom in Iran. And also the future of discourse in college English classroom. So here, they discuss about the classroom interactional discourse, and the conclusion from the study said that good methods, best materials, IRF patterns, English and local languages, student center are the important aspect in improving classroom interactional discourse. But classroom interactional discourse is not only happen in another country. Well, let's check here. So this is I over two empirical research from Indonesia. So the first one is from Rahmi, Amri, and Nairus 2018, an analysis of RRV, initiation, response, and feedback in interaction between teacher and student in English class at SMA Negeri 2, Padang Panjang. Okay, so the results or the conclusion from this article say that the IRF pattern that used by the teacher and student was initiated by student, but the role of the teacher is still dominant during the learning process. Well, and the other hand, and also from the Sundari said that deep understanding of interaction in language classroom in foreign language context to 20 experienced English language teacher from 8 Flowers Secondary School SMP were conducted in Jakarta. Sundari 2017. The second empirical research that I found that teacher and student factors, learning objective, and content materials, classroom context, and outer context are discussed as factors may influence teacher preferences during interaction with the student. So, based on this empirical research, the teacher need to aware that the role of the teacher during the interaction as a tutor and guide the student more active without taking student change to do the initiations. So not only we have to see the IRF patterns, but also we have to see the content, the materials too for the students. Oh, okay. And well, so from here, so the conclusions from my research is that classroom discourse is important for the organizations and management of the classroom. Then IRF is phenomenon potentially occurs during the interactions. It usually takes place in the classrooms. The interaction between teachers and students can produce the pattern of IRF. Moreover, teacher and student interactions were successful during teaching and learning activities in the classroom. The teacher establishes and maintains the space of the lessons, and then they encourage students' participations and understand spoken discourse. Well, identifying the characteristic of classroom interaction is beneficial to the teacher in managing their classrooms. With this understanding, the teacher might plan strategies and apply suitable teaching techniques to build a responsive classrooms. Thus, it's a paramount for the teacher to create a conducive classrooms environment so that it may stimulate the student active involvement during teaching and learning process. And also the recommendation here, it is necessary for the teachers to reorganize the activities which can foster more interaction in the classroom. Teachers are important contributions to learners' classroom learning process. Their roles are to explain the lesson well to learners and make them focus. So it is also important that the government and organizations that are active in the fields of education must acknowledge the fact that education is intimately linked to the language factor, which play an essential role for the success of classroom interactions. Well, the last recommendation is that the school should be aware of the learners' learning at all levels, and it should continue to support both the teachers and students to achieve their goals. Okay. Well, thank you. I think that's all about my presentations. I give it back to the moderator.
Okay, Eka, thank you very much. The information that you present is very beneficial for us as a teacher during our interaction in the class. Now, I'll remind you for all the participants not to leave the room first, because at the end of our webinar we are going to deliver exit ticket as a requirement for you to get the e-certificate. So just stay in this webinar room until the end of our meeting. Now let's come to our final presenters. Septy, Lesia, she's going to present a topic with the title "The Use of Formative Assessment in Remote Teaching During Pandemic Era." For Eza, the Zoom floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Septy Lesia from the Sriwijaya University in the fourth of SRS-TEFLIN graduate students webinar with the theme is classroom interactions and students engagement. I concern on the use of formative assessment in a remote teaching during the pandemic era. Now, there are 8 parts we'll discuss in this presentation. The first is introduction. The second one is about the formative assessment, remote teaching, the form, the process, the advantages and disadvantages, related study, and the last is conclusion. So back to introductions. In the 21st century era, teachers are often supposed to have an assessment of learning outcomes by looking at the students' progress. Meanwhile, for the pandemic era, the teachers see the students' progress by online class. Every teachers and students in this curriculum is required to be more active, creative, and innovative in the teaching and learning activity, especially in the using of technology. So now in the teaching and learning activity, we as the teachers need the assessment to see the students' progress. So assessment is the very important activity during the teaching and learning phase. And I chose the formative assessment in the assessment era because formative assessment, it is the important thing to identify the students' development and the students' difficulties. So this is the significance of study is helping teachers to improve the formative assessment and providing the recommendation on how to do formative assessment during the remote teaching. Now, since all activity is doing remotely, how about the assessment? Is the assessment same as before the pandemic or it is different? Actually, the assessment will be the same, but the difference is the way when the teachers deliver it. The teachers can deliver the students' assessment result and the feedback directly by phone, WhatsApp, email, and others applications. I know it is a little bit difficult to the teachers who accustomed the conventional way, but at the end, we should change our mindset to be the more innovative and adapt in these current situations. So, as I said before, I choose the formative assessment. The main theory of the formative assessment come from Black and Williams. Black and Williams argue that the giving of mark and grading function are overemphasized, while the giving of useful advice and the learning function are underemphasized. And Black and Williams also indicate the successful of formative assessment. There are 3. The firstly is teacher make a change in response of teaching and learning activity to prove the assessment. The second is students provide suggestions related to their learning activity, and the teachers give the suggestions to the students about what they should do to improve. And the thirdly is students engage in the process of self-assessment. Now, how about the experts said about the formative assessment? There are Dick and Carey, Rager, and warmly state about the formative assessment. Both of 3 of them is similar defined about the formative assessment. So it can be concluded the formative assessment is an assessment conduct to obtain information about learning process has been done. So how about the remote teaching? Definitely moving a program that teacher built from the face-to-face become the online completely online remote teaching. It has a many challenges. The first is how the students communicate effectively in a remote teaching, and the second one is how they will expect to interact with new course and the new communicate mode. There are two experts defined about the remote teaching and pandemic era, Gerard and Police and Toquero, because this is the remote teaching and the pandemic era, so we can call it the emergency remote education because it is the alternative way in the educational need during this public health emergency. So it can be concluded the remote teaching is the outside physical classroom, and remote teaching also facilitate the video conference and group discussions to support students in the remote teaching. Okay, now tools to support remote teaching and learning. There are three. The first is interaction and engagement. When we talking about the interactions and engagement, we can concern about the loneliness, welfare, and the lack of interaction. So because of this, I suggest you keep in contact with your friends, students, teachers, and so on. You can make the group to share the informations, your ability, and the challenge about this current situations. The second one is individual and collaborative work. For the individual and collaborative work, it is the most effective ways to support remote teaching and learning. It is to give every learner an opportunity to deliver a topic area, or teachers can give the project to the students. It can be individual or the small group. And the last is IT requirement. For the IT requirement, there is no specific hardware or software is required beyond the internet connection. So the standard software is effective to support us in the remote teaching and learning. So as the teacher, we should try something new, especially in the technological. Next, it is the three forms of using formative assessment by NICU 2000 by NICU. The first is formative assessment help educators to adapt outcomes-based teaching. The second one is the formative assessment give the students proof of their ongoing success. And this also provide our students the ability to track their educational goals. And the third is formative assessment give us the opportunity to offer our students continuous feedback, because in the formative assessment, feedback is the main part. Okay. Now it is the formative assessment process according to BART. There are 9 steps. The first is deciding the material, identify and clearly describing assessment, determining instructional strategy, sharing with the students their role in the formative assessment, because the students know better than anyone else about their ability, capability, and to their set goal, their learning goal. The step 5 is administering a pre-assessment or pre-test if applicable. If it is no go, head to another step. Step 6 is implementing the instructional strategy. Step 7 is collecting the formative assessment data. For the collecting formative assessment data, we can use the written work, observing non-verbal, and the use of the question or questionnaire. And step 8 is providing students with the feedback. And the last step is readjusting instruction for the students based on the formative assessment feedback. Now, we continue the advantages and disadvantages of formative assessment. We know when we're talking about the advantages of formative assessment, it is provide instant feedback for the teachers and allowing them to see how well students understand the material. The second is the formative assessment also can encourage students to participate and can increase cooperation among the students. And the third is for the students with the test poorly, this assessment or formative assessment give teachers a more accurate view of what students are actually learning, not only focus to the score. and it is the effective tools in personalized learning and self-assessment. For these advantages, formative assessment is take more time to repeatedly check the students' learning, and it is the students don't respond about the formative assessment because most of students now is only focus the score. This is the related study come from the Baleni. It is the online formative assessment in higher education, its pros and cons. This article using the mixed method questionnaire to collect the data, and then lectures and students at the comprehensive university, the Baleni choose as the populations. And the result is lecture and students give their perceptions as online assessment is better than pencil and better than pencil and paper assessment with a percentage 83%. Okay, now this is the, I think this is the last part. Okay, since this is the conclusions, since people live in a pandemic era, which is heavily depend on the technology or online, we as the teacher must choose a modern type of assessment because we know it is the change the teaching and learning activity. So it start from traditional ways becomes modern ways. In teaching and learning activity, we know. Assessment is a very important to see the students progress. Because of this, I suggest the formative assessment as a tool for the teachers to see the students progress, because in formative assessment, there are feedback to see the students, to see how the students understand about the material. We know there are many types of formative assessment that teachers can adopt, such as the project-based learning or so on. So because of this, at the end, we can choose the type is based on the teacher itself because teachers know the conditions and situations in the students situations in the classroom and the students. Okay, I think enough for the presentations. Thank you very much for the attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I will give it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Eza, for the nice presentation. We have finished our first session. Now, let's come to the next session, question and answer session. For the first question, would you please share the full screen, Putri? Okay, let's come to the first question to Rena, Sylvia. The question is, in this pandemic era, while having online interaction with students, will they have any kind of problem to solve their query? It will be easy or hard for them to ask the teacher. Okay, Miss Rena, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. The question is, are there any problems? Will they have any kinds of problems to solve? It will be hard. It will be easy or hard for them to ask the teacher. Okay, since it is the online interaction, of course, there will be some kinds of problems because we didn't face-to-face to the children, and it is possible that individual have different learning styles and also have different characteristic. So they can be one student can be so active even it is in online. One student also can be passive in the apa, online interactions. So that question the question. Here to answer these questions. Here the teacher is the tutor itself, so they will in online interactions, the chance for student to ask questions will be more than the classroom interaction in face-to-face, because in face-to-face there will be a limited time. Meanwhile, in online interactions, there is no limited time because there is a social app like WhatsApp and etc., Telegram, and the students who cannot we cannot follow up with the instruction by the teacher from the during the online interaction can answer the teacher through WhatsApp. Then to know for the teacher to know that whether the children already reached the target task or not, the teacher can see from the evaluating, like after the online instruction, after showing them videos from online like YouTube, and then there will be questions given to them as a task, and then the teacher can measure the understanding of the student or children based on the question, based on the answer from their questions. So then in that way the teacher already guide the students to solve their problems. For Mayaria Hardik Kumar, did I answer your question?
I think if he is not clear enough with your answers, he will retype another question to the Q&A answer box, Rena. Thank you, Rena, for your answer. Or you want to add more, Rena? Enough? Okay. Thank you, Rena, for the answer. Now we go to a question from Umi to Nur Annisa. The question is, based on your own experience when teaching in pandemic era, which one the suitable application do you use to teach in this situation? Do you use to teach in this situation, and why? It's a question for Nur Annisa. Nur Annisa, please.
Okay, thank you for the questions, Miwahyuni. As a teacher at vocational high school and also at senior high school, I use different applications. So in vocational high school, I use WhatsApp, and in senior high school, I use Google Classroom and also WhatsApp. It is not me who decided these applications, but all the teachers in my school that decided by considering the students' capability. I had tried to ask my students using Zoom, but they disagree because not all students have mobile phone, and also there is the limitation of internet data in my uh, in here in my school. And but I have tried. I have asked my friends. She is a teacher in Palembang at senior high school too. So I asked her what application she used in online learning. So because she is in Palembang, she used so many applications like Zoom, Google Classroom, WhatsApp, email, and even Sumsel Cerdas. Uh, luckily, she have opportunity to find out which application that appropriate to the online learning between her and the students. Thank you. So I think that all the application is suitable, but depend on the student, and so we have to see the students' capability too when we want to decide it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nur Annisa, for your answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. A question to Yeni Oktarina from Ami Arindi. The question is, how do we as a teachers so that students are enthusiastic about learning online using classrooms? A question to Yeni. Yeni, please.
Okay, thank you for this question. Kita nak dengar question from.
Your voice is not clear, Yeni.
Is it still clear? Hello?
Not yet, not yet. How about if you do not use your earphone?
Okay. Is it clear?
Better.
Well, I can't. Okay. How do, as the teacher, make the process of the teaching learning online become so enthusiastic? The first one, as the teacher, we have to prepare. We have to prepare about what the application should use with our subject. It's the first thing. Don't forget to, yes, I know. The first, and then the second one, as the teacher, use the warming up, how to motivate them, how to make them interested with the subject. Okay, and the third should be interactive between the students and the teachers. That's the point of this. Can you hear that?
Yes, Yeni, it's clear enough.
Hello?
Yes, it's clear, Yeni.
I'm so sorry. I have a low signal. Like the teacher challenging now. The connectivity issue right now. Hello?
Yes, Yeni, we can reach your voice.
Okay, that's all. I think all the teachers can use the many application, okay, many application, but they have just the suitable for the subject. I think that's all. Don't forget to make the warming up and make interactive, yeah, to make interactive with the students. That's the point. I think that's all, Maika.
Yeah, thank you, Yeni.
Welcome.
Another question. Okay. A question for Eka Barahma Putri from Nani Soibah from Pontianak. The question is, why English is not taught in basic education like elementary school or preschool? If English must be taught, how can we teach the children in elementary school or preschool age? Eka, please.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Okay, we know that the curriculum changed in Indonesia. Bring another problem for English subject in elementary school. And we know that the subject cannot be found in curriculum 2013. It becomes current issue in education era. So the results from the research, some people agree that English subjects, well, the subject, it's important. It's also important. English is also important. And the other thing that Bahasa Indonesia is more important than English. So it can be the current issues. So that's why we cannot find, what's the question? We cannot find the English subject in our curriculum because we have a new curriculum here. And so you know that the student in the golden age, like elementary school, like you said that preschool, it's in their golden age. So it's really important to teach them the other language, like English, for example, and the others. So why it cannot be found? Because we don't have in our curriculums. So if the curriculum changes, maybe there will be an English again. And how to teach the student, if I'm not mistaken. Is it right, Ika? Ika? The second question is if the English, if there's an English, so how to teach preschool, like that. The second question.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So we have 4 skills: listening, speaking, writing, and listening, speaking, writing, and also there are 4 vocabulary. And the important ones, if we want to teach the preschool or elementary schools, we cannot teach them in the first, for example, speaking, we cannot teach them. So we need to teach them in the basic level, for example, like vocabulary. So we can ask them to, we can tell them about the meaning of this things, this object, like that. So the first things is you have to teach vocabulary. After you teach vocabulary, you have to see the progress of the student that you teach, for example, or the people that you teach, the children that you teach, like that. So if there's the progress and the vocabulary, so you can go to the next step, for example, like speaking or writing. But I think the second level is that speaking. You can teach them based on their skill, like that, the children's skill. So I think that's all about my answer.
Thank you, Eka. Thank you, Eka.
Yeah.
It seems that Eza is waiting, is impatient to answer a question. Okay, let's come to another question. Next question. Yeah, Eza, this is question for you. A question from Rahmadika. The question is regarding to the use of formative assessment during the pandemic era. How do we assess the students who have no internet access?
Okay, thank you, Rahmadika, for the questions. It is about the access to the remote area with there is no questions, there is no internet connections. So according to the peers 2002, because assessment is the crucial part of the any learning in a teaching activity, because the assessment because from the assessment we can get the students progress, to see their ability, their progress, and to see their progress and others. Okay. Okay, we know in the pandemic era, to assess the students, we use the online assessment, or we can give them feedback by using the online. So your Rahmadika question is how about the remote area with there is no internet access. I suggest the students come to the schools, but only 5 until 10 students with the health protocol, and another students will come in the next day. I think it's the alternative ways to the students in the remote area with there is no connection, internet connections. Thank you.
Thank you, Eza, for the answer. Okay. Yeah. A question from Shafira Riani to Rena Sylvia. The question is, how do you assess the online classroom interaction? How do you know the students are interested in the topic when we have online session? Okay, Rena, would you please answer the question?
Okay. Where is the question? Can I continue? How do we know that the children are interested to the topic we are going to? Francisca, can you show me the question again?
Yeah, question please. Yeah, this one. How do you assess the online classroom interaction? How do you know the students are interested in the topic when we have online session?
Okay. The first one is, how do we assess the online classroom interactions? We can access it through online platform like Zoom, and other social app. And I have ever asked some teachers from swasta school in Palembang. They do the online classroom through Zoom, and then after they have the explanation, or they give the instruction through Zooms, and there we can see, and then the teacher can see the students like we have done here. Uh, like we have done here. Uh, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there is adzan. Okay. Uh, we access it from online platform such as Zoom, and in this era, Zoom is so much well used for the online classroom interaction. In that Zoom platform, the teacher and the student from their distance can meet through the Zooms, and in that and then in that and then during the lesson, from the Zoom, the teacher also can share screen and see and show the videos or something related to the materials that the teacher will explain. And then how we know that the students get interested to the topic or not, uh, we can see from their response. You can see from their response, because it is the interactions. So the teacher should see what the student responds, and then if the children didn't pay attention to the students, if the student didn't pay attention to their camp, or they seems like attracted to another things, attracted to another things that outside the materials, then the teacher should give another strategy for the students to make them keep on a track, like giving them the bridging. The bridging can be a question. The teacher can give question to the students related to the materials, uh, and then from that questions, the teacher can see whether the one student can apa what one student get interested to the material or not. If they are interested and follow up with the instruction during the online classroom interaction, that student can answer the questions. But if the student cannot follow up, we can see it from the way they answer the way they answer our questions. Okay, I think that's my answer. Hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Rena. Okay. A question from Novella Mutiara to Yeni Oktarina. The question is, how to effective learning in pandemic era? How to make the learning effective in the pandemic era? Is it luring or daring? Please, Yeni.
Okay, thank you, Maika. For the questions, I think both of the luring and daring is the most, it's both of them is important. Luring means that you cannot be online because of something issues. So you have to still give the knowledge, and then you have to teach them by giving the assignment. But in this case, the problem is you cannot. You just can give the assignment. Now, how this is the challenging for the teachers to collaborate. Not only just give assignment individually. Why don't you ask? Why don't you to give them about a pair, a group, and about and in the luri apa daring it's also can be used as the collaborative learning. Because you can use some application, yeah, not only using the WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the most easiest application that not it is the common that is the common technology that we use. But why don't you use another application like using Kahoot? Kahoot is more interaction, more effective, yeah, to make the collaborations between teachers and the students with another student. So how to make the interactive, how to make effective learning in the pandemic? Use the time efficiently, correctly. So don't waste your time with something useless as a teacher. I think that's all, Mbak Ika.
Thank you, Yeni. The next question, please. A question to Eza from Rio Marta. The question is, please tell you how you conduct exam during pandemic era. Do you have any suggestion and strategy for teachers to still having exams amid the pandemic era?
Okay, thank you for the questions. As I explained before, in the pandemic era, that everything usually we do everything that we usually do in the teaching and learning activity has changed, such as in teaching and learning activity has changed. It is from the face-to-face to the online. So in this case, I conduct the exams by using the online examinations. I give the students, I give the questions to the students by using the 4C because I want to know the students' understanding, and I think the answer of my question is there is no in the internet or the Google, and then I'll give the file of the examinations 5 minutes before the exams start, and then I collect the file 5 minutes before the exam end. Okay, I think based on my experience, it is the alternative way, or it is the effective ways to my students. You can follow it, but at the end, it depends on the teachers itself. Teachers know the conditions and situations, the students and the schools. So I'm using the Google Classroom, WhatsApp, and Zoom as the platform. So and then okay. Yes, of course, we can conduct the examinations by using the online examination. Thank you.
Thank you, Eza. Okay. The next question is for Eka Barahma Putri from Sohibul Kafi. The question is, what a nice, sorry. I have a question for Eka. In your 10th slide, the result of the study show that the role of the teacher is still dominant during the learning process. So what the teachers need to do to solve this problem based on your conclusion from your empirical research that you show to us? Eka, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the questions for Saibul Kafi. Okay, I will try to answer the questions. Okay. Based on the result of the empirical research, teacher is still dominant. It means that the teacher is not following the rule of the step of learning process based on the curriculum 2013, such as observing, questioning, exploring, associating, and communicating. So this is the suggestions based on the conclusion that I've got from that empirical research for the teacher to use variation feedback. So it is because of the parts of feedback less than other parts in IRF patterns. Initiation, response, and feedback or follow-up. Feedback is also important to increase student motivation, confidence, and evaluations. Because if students have low motivations, they cannot get anything from what they are studying. For example, English speaking. So we as a teacher need to make sure that our students have good motivation, have a high motivations. So I think that's all. So that's what I can conclude from the conclusions.
Thank you, Eka.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's continue to a question for Nur Annisa from Preti, Lesiana. The question is, what are the problems of a teacher in increasing classroom interaction and students' engagement in learning during COVID-19 pandemic? Nur Annisa, please.
Okay, thank you for Pretty for the question. So the problem is that because of we cannot see face to face with the students, when we give the material, sometimes students uh, don't get the idea, so they will always text us to clarify the instructional. So we have to make sure that the instruction what the student should do in classroom activity is clear. And also the problem that teacher face during this online classroom, I think it's students' laziness is increased because not all students attend the class. Yeah, I hope it's answer. I hope it can answer your question. Thank you.
Yes, Nur Annisa, thank you very much for your answer. For all the audience, for all the participants, the exit ticket link has been shared to the chat rooms column. You may fill it out and then submit it to get as a requirement to get the e-certificate that will be distributed a week after this webinar. That's all our discussion, our webinar for this afternoon. I'm the moderator, return the time and space to the host. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, our moderator, Francisca Ika S.Pd, and all presenters today, Rena Sylvia S.Pd, Nur Annisa S.Pd, Yeni Oktarina S.Pd, Eka Barahma Putri S.Pd, and Eza Septy Lesia S.Pd for the worthwhile discussion. So before this webinar is closed, there will be photo session. So the committees will open the allowance your video view. So you are all invited to turn on the camera and start the video to take some pictures with us together. Okay, maybe the committee can help to capture some pictures. Okay, Rizky?
Yes. Wait, we are going on the camera first.
Okay. Okay, some participants are trying to start the video.
I think Nurul can help too. And
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
okay. I want to put Rani as the co-host. Oh, Nurul, can you put Rani and others to be the co-hosts so others can help you to promote them to the panelists as well?
Okay. I'm doing it now. Wait.
For other panelists, if you are promoted to the co-host, please help to promote all the participants to become the panelists as well.
All right, Rizky.
Thank you.
Done.
All right.
Everybody has been the panelist.
Okay. Maybe Nur Annisa can help me to capture the
I will.
picture. Okay.
I will do the screenshots.
Okay. So make sure that all of the participants to start the video and turn on the camera to take some pictures with us together. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Again, one more time. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you for all the participants for your willingness to start the video. And now, sadly, we've come to the end of today's presentation, today's webinar. But don't worry, because we will have one more webinar coming on the following day. Again, you are all invited to participate in our last webinar. The information of our webinar is on our social media pages. So make sure you are following our Facebook account, our Instagram account, our Telegram channel, SRS-TEFLIN Official, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, SRS-TEFLIN channel, to keep yourselves updated about our next event. I really appreciate to all attendees for attending this webinar until the end and spend your day with this worthwhile discussion. See you on our last webinar tomorrow. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a nice everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Good presentation, good topic. Someone from abroad, if I'm not mistaken, ya. There are one. Kayak orang dari India ya. Iya ya, benar nggak?
Yes, Bu.
Dari India apa dari mana tuh? Bangladesh nggak?
Kalau yang bisa lihat dari Nepal kemarin.
Iya, wajah-wajah orang Nepal gitulah, agak-agak India kan. Tuh, berarti kalau mengadakan bisa lagi, atau teman siapa? Teman siapa?
Rena ada sih, Ren?
Teman Rena, ya teman Rena.
Ada sih?
Gitu,
Yang kemarin itu, Ren.
Temen,
I don't know.
gitu
Maybe
ya, temennya di luar juga diundangin.
Maybe he saw in my apa tuh di Instagram kali.
Dah, nanti kan academic setting ya, Bu ya. Oke, that's all ya. Ngajar jadi masih sudah keluar ya semua peserta ya?
Belum, Bu.
Belum, Mem, lagi dikeluarin dulu satu-satu.
Oh, Sudah salat? Iya, saya salat dulu. Mau beli itu ya lampu ya sekalian.
Dan
Sudah keluar semua ya, Ki?
Iya.